My name is Andy Cohen. I am a system architect at Sitecore. Right now, my responsibility is solely XM Cloud Deploy. The product manager on this is Justin Vogt. He's also responsible for just Sitecore DevX. I've also worked at a bunch of different Sitecore partners, a two-time Sitecore MVP, and I've been doing Sitecore since I was, since 2013. I also helped architect Experience Edge. So that's kind of a general background about who I am and what I'm working on. I'm just going to get right into this, and we're going to talk about XM Cloud. So what is XM Cloud? Well, here is the marketing speak, and it says no sharing allowed because this is from an MVP presentation. You can share this. This is pretty much public information at this point. We built XM Cloud. Let me switch to my other side of the deck. We built XM Cloud basically to be a pillar in our new composable universe for content, and we built it so that it's really lightweight compared to the infrastructures of the past for Sitecore, and it's built to be headless, cloud native, API first, Jamstack ready, and composable. You'll also see throughout these slides, you'll see some different terminology like Symphony. XM Cloud, part of XM Cloud is going to be Symphony, but it's not going to be called Symphony. If you're wondering what Symphony is the SaaS version of Horizon, but Symphony's name just changed today. It's called Sitecore Pages now. So you'll see kind of a sprinkling throughout of this entire presentation. You'll see Symphony, Horizon, Pages, all these different things. But what that is it's effectively Horizon on SaaS with a bunch of extra stuff. But XM Cloud is it's a base image of XM that we manage for you. You get control over deployments within your organization, and it's meant so that you publish from publish from the CM server to Edge, and then you serve that content via GraphQL on the Edge in a front-end website, or the Sitecore rendering host using the layout service. Justin Vogt came up with the term that this is XM and XMP deconstructed. And what's in this is what I'm responsible for is at the top left, development and deployment tooling. This is a Sitecore CLI extension. It's a web-based deploy app. It's some development starter kits. Also with XM Cloud is this new customer portal where you go to manage all your applications. It's where you'd go to manage personalize. It's where you'd go to manage your users in your organization. If you had Sitecore Search or Reflection, or if you had any of the or Sitecore Send, any of the new Sitecore products, as we launch them, they are going to be integrated into this customer portal. At launch, we're only going to have XM Cloud in there, but you'll be able to switch between the apps much like you can with like a Jira. You can switch between, in the Atlassian tool stack, you can switch between all the different apps. Also included in XM Cloud is the basic headless content management. Here's that site builder, which is also called Pages now. We also give you a lightweight version of CDP called Embedded Sitecore Personalization. You get an Edge tenant, and you get the Edge connector installed with it. And we got headless services, the GraphQL endpoints, the management services, anything that you need to use the layout service. All these things are all installed for you out of the box. Also, media by default goes to Azure Blob. It doesn't go into your database, so it doesn't slow down anything there. Sitecore PowerShell as well. What's not in XM Cloud is MVC support, CD servers, device detection, device simulator, anything that was reliant upon rendering of your website on a CD server is effectively gone. We also took out the update center because we're doing automatic updates for you. I'll get into that towards the end. And then we took out Sitecore Identity Server as well because, well, we have our own unified identity system built into our SaaS platform now. A little bit more about, and you're going to see this live, hopefully. We have a deployment portal and we have a CLI. Those are the tools that we're going to use to deploy. I'm going to go deeper into the CLI because the deploy portal isn't 100% ready yet, but over the next few weeks here, I should be posting some more videos and scheduling some more sessions about going deeper into the web portal. This is the whole idea of XM Cloud Deploy is to enable self-service deployments of all of your tenants that you want, or environments rather, multiple environments, and you'll be able to do it through a GitOps model, or you'll do it through the CLI model, and all of it goes out to Experience Edge. Also, we support customizations, right? You can write code and you can deploy that C# backend code to your CM server. It gets deployed out. We build it for you. It gets deployed, and you can do your local container development like you normally would. That's the whole idea here. I mentioned identity. I'm going to kind of skip past this because we've got a lot of content to go through. And then I talked all about all these things already. I'm just going to keep going. Here's a little preview into Sitecore Pages, or Horizon is SaaS, or Symphony. It looks very, very similar to the way it was before. Some additional things, a switcher towards the top. You can switch the context of your sites. You can switch between organizations. You have this new toolbar on the top left to switch between your apps. And this is, again, just another view of the different services that we're including out of the box: headless services, the JSS SDKs, the CLI, and a new thing called Headless SXA. We're also working on removing the web database. If you remove the web database entirely, we can remove the assemblies that need to access the web database, and which means that we can do cold start even faster. The number of assemblies that we include in XM directly corresponds to how fast we can start up XM. And we all know that XM is not the fastest thing to start. XM Cloud Deploy, I don't know if you guys remember something like this. This is, I think this is on the website right now, dev.sitecore.com. This explains the basic footprint of Sitecore Experience Manager. This is even more complicated when you have XP. This is I drew this on the board in 2015. This was actually, I worked with my colleague Justin Vogt at Horizontal. In our two offices, we were development managers, and our two offices were right next to each other. And this was the whiteboard in between our two offices. And I drew this for a customer deployment. This is like looks like almost 40 some servers. But I remember being so proud. Hold on a sec, sorry, my daughter just came in. Sorry, my daughter wanted to go to her friend's house, and I kept telling her, yes, she can go. So I remember being extremely proud of building infrastructures and architectures like this, make pretty diagrams, and you know, we don't need to do this anymore. One of the whole ideas of XM Cloud is to take away this complexity, take away the lead time it takes to develop architectures like this, simplify your conversations with customers, just make your lives easier. That's the whole idea here. XM Cloud Deploy is the tooling to get XM Cloud deployed so that you can build websites, so that you can build web experiences, so that you don't have to spend time on complex automation or deployments. That's the whole idea here. We want you to get developing your stuff very fast. There's a few different workflows or use cases that we wanted to account for. The first was GitOps. And GitOps is, I don't know if you're familiar with Vercel, but a Vercel-like experience where you go to a portal and you authorize Vercel to connect back to your GitHub account. You say, I want to deploy a template. It links it to a brand new repository that it creates for you with that template, and then it deploys. And within minutes, you have a nice website. We're going for the same exact thing. The next experience we wanted to account for was local development. Local development using containers. We want the experience to be exactly like it is today. So that's what we did. We have templates that are very, very similar. They just refer to a different image. And you can develop the same way that you used to, using the same Sitecore CLI to use the management services or create JSS sites, whatever. Same stuff. The last case was automation tools. When we presented the idea for GitOps and local development to MVPs, they came back and said, well, what if we don't want to link to a Git repository? What if we're already hosting it on Azure DevOps, and in our build server, it already has access to its own Git repository? Why can't we take that code and push it out? Well, we accounted for that too, and I'll show you that in a second. And the last really useful case is, as everybody started using XM Cloud internally here, it's just super handy to spin up deployments for demo purposes. XM Cloud Deploy is a REST API. It's a CLI plugin. It's a website portal, and it's all hosted on our Sitecore SaaS infrastructure. We handle the monitoring, we handle the observability, the security, the scalability. We do all that for you. The empty environment scenario is pretty simple. You just say Sitecore Cloud Deployment create, you pass it the environment ID that you created, and it deploys out your environment. It's extremely straightforward. The deployment portal, this is where it gets really cool. You'd come into the portal, and if you have nothing deployed the first time, you're going to choose, do I want to take my existing code using your source code provider and migrate it to XM Cloud, your own headless site that you want to migrate, or do you want to use the starter template? In the starter template example, you choose your template, Next.js. This is kind of a bad example because I'm not sure we're actually going to have an Angular template to start. But you choose, again, this is slideware. We will actually jump into the app, but this is slideware. So that was just basic UX created that for us. Let me go back 2 slides. So you choose your template, you give it a project name, you say what provider you want. At launch time, we're going to start with just GitHub. You're going to authorize our app. You're going to choose a repository name, what you want your environment to be called. Is it prod? Is it non-prod? What branch do you want this to be named on? And do you want to trigger deployments whenever you commit to that branch? Click create, and then you're presented with this deploy screen where we're going to give you provisioning status, build status, deployment status, post-action status, and in the future, Vercel status. The local development experience, I mentioned this, you're going to have the same starter kit templates, and you're going to use the up script, and it works. We will. I'm not going to show you that today. I'm going to show you a more simple, even more simple solution, getting that deployed. But the whole idea is that you develop the same way that you normally did. It's as simple as git commit, and then you git push, and then you'd see your change out there. The deployment happens with webhooks that we've linked up in the background. This is an alternative flow where you can, instead of linking to a Git repository, you can upload what's in your current directory or optionally specify a different directory where you want it to come from. And it's going to take your code, it's going to push it up, we're going to build it for you. It's going to have if any serialized items are in your solution, we're going to package those up as items as resources and deploy them into your solution. The automation tool scenario, for example, if this was Azure DevOps, you'd write your Azure pipeline, and in the script, you log into XM Cloud using client credentials auth. You would create an environment or use an existing environment, and you would then deployment. Pretty simple. And now I'm going to jump into the demo, and hopefully the demo gods are going to be kind. Let's see what happens. So where is my command prompt? Here we go. Command prompt. Let me get my browser ready. All right, if you're wondering what this is Windows Terminal with an Oh My Posh theme. Just Google Oh My Posh, OHMYPOSH, if you don't know what this is. And I'm using, you'll see, I'm using kind of a type ahead or history extension. I don't remember what it's called, but it's super handy. So the first thing you do is you come in and you say Sitecore Cloud login. It's going to launch the browser. And this hooks up to our identity system. Confirm, log in. Great, all logged in. Then you create Sitecore Cloud project, create, name, hits. Let's give it a region. Now, the latest version of the CLI, you don't have to specify a region. I have not updated mine because everything was working. I didn't want to do that. You could either type your command next, or you could copy this, give it an environment name. We'll just give it dev. This is going to reserve your tenant name behind the scenes and some additional upfront resources. And then you would type Sitecore Cloud deployment create, give it an ID, and that's going to deploy. I'm going to monitor this in the background because I'm curious what's going to happen behind the scenes. Now, typically what happens is the provisioning process takes about 50 seconds, 54, 55, right around there. And what we're doing for you is we're provisioning all of the databases, all the indexes, your Edge tenant. We are creating any Azure storage containers that you need, any security logins, because you get your own SQL databases, your own security isolation. What else we got behind the scenes here? But we're doing all this in 50 seconds or so is pretty remarkable. I mean, even provisioning your databases locally, that takes a while, and we're able to do this really, really, really fast. Let's see how long this takes. Yeah, 52 seconds. And then it's moved, it's gone past the build because we didn't actually deploy any custom code. And then it moved on to the deployment. So the deployment, it's going to deploy into our infrastructure. It's going to construct the secrets. And I'm going to monitor behind the scenes. And what I did at, I don't know if any of you guys were at SUGCon, I let the anticipation build here. I wanted everybody to feel the anticipation to see if this would actually work. It didn't quite go as planned at SUGCon, and it actually looks like it's not going to go as planned right now. So what I might do is show an alternative. I might actually, no, it's going to go. Sorry. So I'm gonna open it up for questions at this point because I've gone through a lot in a very, very short amount of time. Is there any questions so far about what you're seeing or what's going on here?
I was just seeing all this, Andy. So it essentially looks like so means after we are so means we'll be using this XM Cloud, but the actual developer experience will be exactly same, right? So in terms of using Docker and pod locally, so everything is same exactly.
Correct.
Yeah. Just a related question comes to my mind if I think of any SaaS product, right? So say in SaaS product, generally upgrade and everything is managed. But say if developers working locally, so it would be again the matter of just updating that particular version which will be available in dev and prod, like we do in the current Docker world?
So, you're talking about how you would get updates or the next
Yeah,
version of
yeah,
Sitecore.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
or migrate to XM Cloud. What do you? I guess what's the scenario there? It's
So, so say if our project is already on XM Cloud, right?
mhm.
So means would Sitecore be updating means latest Sitecore version automatically in their SaaS platform, or
Yep,
would it be in the control of customer?
sure. So, what we are having in our templates, and I'll actually
Okay.
go through
Hmm.
this. In our templates, the I'll just pop it open. It's really small. So our basic starter kit. All right, so it deployed, completed in 3 minutes and 53 seconds. That's a record. I just want to let you guys know that's the fastest it's ever gone.
That's impressive.
So I'll launch it in a second, but I want to answer this question first. So in the env file, we will have a short tag. This will actually say one
Okay.
at time of launch, but we'll have a short tag. So anytime we update within this major version, you'll automatically
Hmm.
get it locally. And
Okay.
in the NuGet config, you're also going to have the, let's see, no, not the NuGet config, the package props. It's going to be wildcarded to the version of Sitecore, and there's going to be different XM Cloud packages which are all semantically
Hmm.
versioned. So just by nature of those two things, this wildcard and
Hmm.
the env file Sitecore version, it'll automatically update both locally and remote. You could force locally a specific version. I don't see why you would want to or need to.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's basically how our template works. I'm going to launch this. Let's see if this actually loads, because I saw some DNS issues, but let's be optimistic here. A little bit of trivia. Does anybody know the name of the lady or the woman who's in the Sitecore homepage? Does anybody know her name? Well, I'm told her name is Betty. I'm told that her name is Sitecore Betty, in case you wanted to know. And now remember, I logged in using Sitecore's identity. I logged in on the command line. And now if I went to /Sitecore, I'm automatically logged in with the same exact user still. It so happens that I'm an administrator. I have full authority over my entire organization, all of the tenants within my organization, and I can log into this tenant or environment. And what you're getting here is you're going to get the Launchpad. This custom analytics is going to go away because analytics would be composable. You can use your own whatever, or you can use the CDP platform for this. In the content, and we're also renaming, it says Horizon right here. We're going to be calling that Pages. And the content editor, let that load. So in the content editor, it looks the same as it was before. I don't have any sites deployed yet, but I can create an SXA or a JSS site. I can publish my entire site to Edge. I have only an Edge publishing target. There is no web publishing target in this scenario. I also want to highlight that we have a project folder. It's completely empty. What I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to deploy the custom code that I have in my solution here. So in this project folder, you will see, we're going to see some templates showing up in a minute. So here, I have a basic solution. It's a web app. It has an app config, very basic, doesn't really do anything, has a setting in there. We have a test web app, and the web app refers to the library. The library has a class in it. You could just as easily put a pipeline in here, deploy that, put any custom configuration. We're working on getting XDTs in here as well. You could deploy assemblies, whatever you could put in this folder, we're going to put it out, as long as we're going to, of course, ignore what's in the git ignore, so those things don't get deployed or built. And then this is what we're going to deploy. These items as resource, or these serialized items that we've created using the Sitecore CLI will show up as items as resources and built with your solution, so that when the apps, when Sitecore starts up, they'll automatically be there. They won't be in the database. They'll be in your, it'll be part of your system, part of the image that's built. So let me just do that. So all I got to do is, because I'm in this directory already, right? I'm in this code. I can do the same command against this environment, and this time I'm going to pass the upload parameter. And I can, once this starts, I can click this link here. I can just directly, I don't know if you see the underline, but I can directly click this link and go to the build tab, and this will start streaming the build in a minute, so I can see the live progress of what's going on behind the scenes. I'm gonna monitor this in the background. Sorry, I'm just dragging a window over. So you're seeing the live streaming of what's going on behind the scenes, so you can troubleshoot. You'll also be able to see the provisioning status, the deployment status, and the post-action status. I mentioned that before. In a minute here, it's going to deploy, it's going to package up those items as resources right here. And it's created the DAT file. And this should complete in a second. It's going to push the image that it just created to your personal repo. And almost done. Yep, it's done behind the scenes. It'll report it's done in a minute. And then it'll just go through the same process for deployment. So now is a good time for question, or actually while I'm here, let me show you the portal, show you how much is done. So the build is now done. So this is a real portal. These are all the different projects that I've created recently. You know, I mentioned Columbus, our sales, our professional services, Pittsburgh Proficient Horizontal, some test projects, but you can create a new project, choose your starter kit or a source code provider, just like I was mentioning. You choose your project name, continue with GitHub. I'm not going to go farther than that. You can click on these projects. You can edit your project details, rename it, change or link a repository if you're not linked. For each individual, and this is an environment, and these are the deployments. These are the 2 deployments we've done. This isn't populated yet with any useful information, but it will be. We can click into each one of these deployments, or we can change the options for the environment. You can edit your environment details. If you're not linked to a branch, you can choose to link to a branch. You can see this isn't hooked up. That's why we're getting the 404. You can delete your environment. You can also promote from one environment to another. You can choose a build artifact and deploy and promote it to another environment. What else can you do? And you get a quick link to the Launchpad, or you can generate your edge tokens, things like that. Let me look at the status of this behind the scenes. And it's deploying. It should be done in a little bit here. So now I'm going to break for questions. Any questions right now?
Okay, Andy, I want to start with a very basic question, the one you beginned with. So can I say Sitecore XM Cloud as a kind of SaaS? And it is hosted in Sitecore's own cloud, whatever is the behind the scenes cluster. Is that the right way of understanding this?
Yes, I would say it's SaaS that allows, there's many parts of this that are SaaS, right? We have our pages that's SaaS. We have the deploy portal that's SaaS. We have the cloud portal that's SaaS. We have Edge that's SaaS. We have CDP that's SaaS. We have all of our composable things that are SaaS. The unique thing about this is we're trying to give customers a good opportunity to migrate from what they're doing today to the SaaS world, right? So we're allowing you to do all the customizations that you did before and bring them to SaaS. So it's a slightly hybrid model, right? Because you're taking your code and we're allowing you to push it into our infrastructure.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. And so I see that the sample project, the test project you have been developing, that has been hosted now. If you click on that in the Pittsburgh, do you see more information about the infrastructure? I mean, if I want to scale out, scale up, or maybe if I want to stop this, where do I see all those options?
Yep. Okay. So this is the environment view page, environments and deployments. So this is the environment. These are the deployments. In this view, where you don't really have much status, we are going to be adding a way for customers to stop their environments. There's really no need to scale your environments here. The way that you'd handle your scalability would be through a tiering system that we are going to be, and I can't speak to pricing or what the tiers are going to be or what they're going to cost, but you can imagine a very inexpensive slash, don't quote me on this, free version, or the next version, next level, maybe a basic version. You can have a prod and a non-prod. You could have a medium tier, which would be, I don't know, 3 projects with 5 environments in each, and maybe an enterprise or professional tier that, you know, I don't know, was way more beefy. I'm really not sure what these tiers are going to be, but imagine it that way, that you'll be able to turn off or turn on your environments, and that the power of the environment, or the power of the CM server and number of deployments that you can do directly relates to the tiers. Now, you shouldn't have to worry as much about scaling your CM. Or really your front end website, right? Because remember, this is a disk. Let me actually pull this up a little bit. So so these in the, let me see if there's a pointer. So laser pointer. All right, so here in the middle is your CM servers, right? Your however many environments you want. You got the site builder and authoring happening that connects back to XM, but where it really matters is out in Edge, right? The scalability of Experience Edge, or the CDN that's sitting in front of Edge, and your front end website that's actually communicating with Edge. All of this is GraphQL queries or media queries, or media requests, I should say. So all of your front end, your customer experience, it's all gonna be served out of a front end website. It's completely headless. You may need to scale your CM servers for, like, it depends on what you're doing in your CM servers. Do you need to scale for publishing? Do you need to scale for synchronizing your content into Sitecore or maybe out of Sitecore using what people used to use, like the data exchange framework, or maybe you wrote some custom job, or maybe you're writing a layout resolver or an item resolver or some custom pipeline that does, I don't know what. I've seen all kinds of interesting things out there. I've written some interesting things, my own custom standard values resolvers. I've written a whole bunch of, customizations to the CM server itself. All of those things are possible. I'm not sure how much scaling we're actually going to need on the CM server. But we will have some levers that customers will be able to pull. But I'm sorry, it's not defined very well yet. So
no, that's totally fine. In fact, we don't have a need for scaling CM servers. In my experience, we never did that. So
yep.
CD servers is the only thing, and it looks like experience age in front of that CDN that would act like a CD server. Is that
exactly
correct?
Exactly. Yeah. No CD servers. There's no like HTML rendering in the Sitecore infrastructure. There's the CDN, which gives you GraphQL queries and media, but your front end website or your JSS site or maybe some other headless framework is going to be communicating back with the layout service to get all the content. And all of that should be cached, or if you're using Vercel, it's going to have something like incremental static regeneration. You might do your personalization out in Vercel using an edge function. We're going to have some templates for Vercel also. But yeah, most of the heavy lifting is now done in the front end, which is really kind of cool that we're everything's moving out to the edge. I would imagine in like 10 years though, these things go back and forth over time. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at in 10 years.
Right. Yep. Totally agree. So when you were creating this project, what version of Sitecore by default it took, or do we have an option to choose the version we want?
Yeah. So we started with the next version of Sitecore. So we are building XM Cloud base image from all of the components of 10.3. We are reversioning that, and I think it's time to just go forward to our next. How do I get off this pointer? There we go. Let me jump into the next part of the
Sure.
demo.
There is a 10.3.
Yep. So there's going to be a 10.3 that's going to be released around symposium time, but XM Cloud is based on it. So you're actually, if you go to XM Cloud, you're going to get a pre-release of 10.3. Where is it? Here we go. Releases. So our release strategy is semantic versioning starting at XM Cloud 1.0. We're doing monthly releases following Windows Patch Tuesday, automatic updating within a major version monthly, automatic updates whenever you redeploy or build locally, and automatic updates for 0-day patches. If we discover some kind of security flaw, we're going to fix that and roll that out. In a release, you have CLI updates, NuGet packages, assembly meta packages, individual component packages, the base image, and I showed that things are referencing a wildcard within the major version in the project templates. We're going to be releasing this to a limited customer preview this month and general availability this summer. That's pretty much what I have to share on my slides. So I can go back to questions though. Let me pull up this template again, the starter kit. But yeah, version it'll be 1.star, and you'll have my screen is freezing. Where is it? You'll have in the env file, you will have the image at 1-whatever. So I think the question was, coming back to this, will you have the ability to control your version
Yep.
Well, you really shouldn't need to within a major version. We don't know what the upgrade strategy is like. So again, I'm talking about updates. Upgrade, I'm not entirely sure yet, but we have a pretty strong commitment across the organization to not introduce breaking changes anymore. So I hope to never have to upgrade again. That's what we're pushing for. Even if there was an upgrade, I'm hoping that we can do it for you guys behind the scenes because we have control over the environments. That's my hope at this point.
Yeah, that will make things easier. I would love to see such a solution. But one quick question on that is, so we are talking about Sitecore upgrade, right? So today, let's say you are in 10.3, 6 months later or next year, you are in Sitecore 11. That is going to happen. Everything is going to be taken care by the release process you just shown us. But our custom solution has to be compatible with Sitecore 11, right? If that is still, we are not ready to update yet. In that case,
well, it depends, right? So if we are not introducing breaking changes to APIs, right? If we're doing everything backwards compatible, what is a scenario that you could be broken?
Well, for one example, the Sitecore NuGet packages, for every version that is getting released, there is a NuGet package upgrade, right? Even though there is no API changes that is visible to us. For 10.1 to 10.2, there are, or 10.0 to 10.2, there are some NuGet package changes. If we have to be compatible with Sitecore 10.2, our NuGet packages are supposed to be updated as well, correct?
Yep. So going back to the template, your NuGet packages will be at a separate NuGet feed, and the packages are going to be XM Cloud packages. Inside of them, they will have the correct assemblies for the version that you're on. And because the package props has a wildcard, it will automatically update to the right version.
I see. Wow, That will make things easier. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So because all of the XM Cloud assemblies are going to be semantically versioned, there shouldn't be any breaking changes.
Right. Yep.
You know, I keep, like, I want somebody to poke some holes in this, you know. I'm sure that somebody will find some weird edge case, but as long as we are committing to no breaking changes on any of the APIs, the only scenario that I've come up with, and somebody at Horizontal brought this up yesterday. They said, okay, what if there's a bug in Sitecore and I wrote a workaround for that bug, and then all of a sudden you guys come in and you fix it. Well, if you've written code as a workaround for a bug and then we fix it in your code, like that's a very unique situation. It's plausible, but because we can release at any time, the frequency at which we will be able to get fixes out to you will be so much faster. We can release, to start, we're planning on weekly releases. We're not going to roll those out monthly, but we're committing to weekly releases. So we'll be able to get bug fixes out there very fast. I keep trying to get people to go to continuous delivery, and let's push these out every 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're getting there as a company. So,
right,
how are we doing on time? Sorry.
Yeah, those are some unique situations, but yeah, I have some more questions, but I'm going to stop right here so that the next 5 minutes can be utilized by others. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good on time, Andy. Like I said.
Okay.
Any more questions we have? Or I'd like Senthil to continue. Okay, it looks like Senthil, it's your turn if you want to continue.
All right. Sorry, Andy, you're not done with me yet. Okay.
No problem. No problem. Please keep asking.
So search is not integrated as part of this cloud deploy, I assume. So whether it is our own, of course, Solar is not supported as a PaaS yet, but search stacks or whatever is the search mechanism, it is not inbuilt with this cloud deploy. Is that correct?
So the CM server has search, right? The CM server, the content editor is powered by search. But you're right. You don't have content delivery servers. You don't have content delivery indexes. There's no web index. Your search is powered off of the edge. If you wanted to have some custom search platform, you'd need to plug that in, or you could use the Sitecore item service to do your search. There is something on the backlog to have content search available through XM. I'm not sure what the status of that is, but I would say that you probably want to go to some kind of search provider, and there's Sitecore Search, there's Coveo, there's Algolia, there's a whole bunch of others. Yeah, I don't know. Is Google Search still a thing? Yeah. Anyways, you're right. There is no direct search, but your search wouldn't be crawling the CM server. It would be crawling the edge site. So it's a little bit of a different model.
Got it. Okay. So in case, let's say, if we have such stacks, it should not matter to you at all because it is taken care in the application, and the indexes are going to be maintained by search stacks or any external provider like Coveo. Everything should be seamless here in our app. Is that right?
Yep. So you could use whatever public search provider you want, right? As long as it's hitting the edge stuff. That's, it's not going to point back to the CM server. The search technology that we use on our CM server, we could swap it out at any time with, whatever, and it shouldn't matter to you as long as it works.
Got it. Okay. Going back to this deployment, so are you guys going to provide this deployment slots or whatever is called blue-green deployment when there is a deployment happening through our custom DevOps? This application code change is being deployed. Will you swap this slot?
So think of it this way. Again, this is a CM server. Just because this is AKS Kubernetes, right? It as you do a deployment, like when I did a deployment, I had 2 of those up, right? The website or the container image that was there, it swapped it behind the scenes, but it didn't swap the databases, right? There is no blue-green of the data of the content. If that's what you're talking about, there's no blue-green of the content there. I would probably recommend some kind of content promotion strategy. We're looking into things like using Razzle or content serialization. You could also probably, there's a number of modules out there. I'm not sure how you'd configure those going from one instance to the next, but we are keeping this in mind. It's not 100% there yet. Again, this is pre-release, right? We're releasing over the summer, so we still have some time to get some of these things in there. But I'm going to write this one down to reinvigorate this conversation. There.
Cool. Okay.
Cool. Well, I think we're at time, aren't we?
We are.
Yes,
We are. I can go over if you guys want to.
If there is any other final questions, feel free to ask and I don't know, to hold the group. Senthil, you good or you have?
I'm good. I found it very helpful. I mean, for a first session, this is more than enough for me. I'm pretty sure once this preview or whatever is released, I will come back with more questions. Andy, are you still in here in Twin Cities or?
Yeah, are you?
I am. I work for Allianz. I met you once in horizontal
Oh,
office.
okay. Yeah. All right. Huh. Sorry, I didn't recognize you. Yeah. So you must have worked with Jeff Stoll maybe, or?
Oh yes, yeah. Jeff Stoll
Yep.
was there. Now Mike Leveser. You
Yep.
know Mike, right?
Yep.
Yep. Mike is still my teammate now.
Cool. Very cool. I guess one last thing I wanted to add it's a question that people always ask, or lots of people, customers have been asking about XM Cloud. How do you get prepared for XM Cloud? Or the other one we get is, let's say you have a customer that just got, that's just starting on Sitecore right now. How do we make sure that we can get them on XM Cloud as soon as it's launched? The answer really is make sure that you're in a good position to, hold on a sec, sorry. Sorry, guys. So in order to position yourself for the future for XM Cloud, you're going to want to build headlessly, right? If you're not familiar with JSS or headless frameworks, now is the time to start looking into those things. There are some pretty good tutorials out there on our tech evangelist websites. There's good samples out there. Yeah, just start learning, do some React tutorials, just some Next.js tutorials, some Vercel tutorials, and JSS tutorials. Just get used to doing headless development. I think that's the best way to position yourself for XM Cloud. At the same time, not everybody's going to want to go to XM Cloud. We still have managed cloud. We still have on-prem. We still have XM on-prem, XP on-prem. We still have all of these things. So think about it as you have a menu of things you want to choose, but I would recommend, the simplicity of XM Cloud. I'm very biased, but I've been there. I've done the complex deployments. I know what it's like, and this model is so much easier. Let's move it to the front end. Everything's going that way. That's what I think. And let me close on one final thing. I said this at SUGCon. I'll say it again. I say it every time I talk about this. When ATMs came out, all the bank tellers were afraid that they were all going to lose their jobs. What do you think actually happened when ATMs came out? What happened to their jobs? Somebody take a guess.
Nothing changed.
Well, actually what happened is there was more bank tellers, because what they did is they opened up more banks because they wanted more ATMs. And so I'm not sure why, I don't know why that all happened, but the moral of the story is that things change, right? And they don't always work out like the way that you think they are. And so and here's another example. When SXA came out, I work for a partner, I work for Horizontal. I was very afraid, what is going to happen to my job? I'm an implementer, I make complex deployments. Now this SXA thing is coming along. It's going to make it too easy for customers. Is that what really happened? Did SXA take away the work of a partner? No, I think it just completely changed how and where the focus of what you were doing as a developer. DevOps, this isn't going to take away DevOps. It's going to change it, right? This is just going to introduce change. So embrace the fear, embrace the change, and turn it into something positive is what I would say. So with that, I'll end. So
Andy, maybe I just had one question related to your slide. I did see when the starter templates you had Next.js. I know Sitecore is too much focusing on Next.js. Like, how is the focus on the React side of things? Is it still at the same level, or like even in the slides, whatever I saw, it was like a Next.js or Angular? I know that's not true, but there has been a lot of push on Next.js. But how about React? Is it still being,
So right now we're focusing on Next.js, but Next.js and React are so similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Next.js is based on React. It's just a Vercel flavor of React.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why we can't have a template that's just React so that you can deploy it wherever you want, right? We don't need to be tied into Vercel, but we want to give you the option to go to Vercel. So I can imagine that. I'm going to write this one too, is make sure that we have just a vanilla React, not just a Vercel React, or Next.js rather.
Yeah, because I recently ran into an issue with one of the clients that they weren't ready to get like a Vercel or like for the cost aspect, and they were like, no, we just want React and we don't want this bells and whistles.
Yep.
So we have between Next.js and React, it ended up with a React project.
Okay. If you want to email me, andy.cohen@sitecore.com, any of you guys with other questions, I do want to get back to you, but I'd love to have your email so I can respond to any more questions for sure.
Absolute pleasure.
And also the Sitecore community Slack, you can find me on there as well, andy.cohen, or Twitter, I am Andy Cohen. So.
And also you're there on the Sitecore lunches on Fridays.
I usually am, that's right. I usually am, I'll be there tomorrow.
Yep.
So, cool.
Thank you, Andy. It's an absolute pleasure hosting you. And thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity. Yep. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was super helpful.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.